Hey everybody, I wanted to show you the latest version of the Flick, which is a reverb, tremolo, and delay pedal that I built, and it's based off of the Daisy Seed and also on the Funbox. But I've also put out some code for the Hot House, which also uses the Daisy Seed, so the code is pretty similar and it all has the same function as of right now. But I wanted to give you a demo of how this is working. Right now I've got the reverb on. And you can't see it, but I've got it plugged into my two tube amplifiers, actually in stereo mode, and that's one of the recent things that I fixed up thanks to some feedback that I got out on GitHub. Okay, so let's get into it. I'm just going to show you some of the features. I'll do a feature walkthrough, I guess, is what we're going to do. And this is reverb. So reverb on the left, you press it once and it will turn on reverb. Press it again and it turns off. On the right, there's delay. Pressing that once will turn on delay. Pressing it once again will turn it off. Now if you see, there's a tremolo on the right side as well, so if you double press, it's going to turn tremolo on, so like this. All right, let's look at some of the other features. So let's go through the reverb. We'll turn that on. There's an edit mode for reverb, and basically what you want to do is set up reverb how you want it, and then you've got a simple mix knob, the top left, and then you've got how you want your reverb mix to behave. So if it's on the left, see how it's sunny? That's completely dry signal. In the middle is a mixture of wet and dry and wet, I guess. And on the far right is just going to be wet only. So this is what dry plus wet. So you notice as I turn it all the way up, when I turn it all the way up, the dry signal stays 100% and it just adds more of the wet signal in. If I move this to the middle, that's going to be dry wet mix. So all the way to the left is completely dry. All the way to the right is 100% wet. And then if you flick this to the right, it's going to be just a wet. So if you turn it all the way to the left, it's silent. The more you turn it up, the more wet signal you'll get. I like to run mine in the dry mode where it's always 100% dry and then it's adding extra reverb. Okay, we're going to come back to reverb edit mode in a little bit, but let's look at tremolo. So tremolo, you double press and it turns it on. And of course you got your normal speed knob. It gets pretty fast. And it gets crazy slow. Too slow to almost even notice. And then you've got your intensity knob. Turn intensity all the way to the left, you're not going to hear anything. And then the other control that you have is the tremolo shape. So sine wave, triangle wave, and a square wave. And there's not really a ton of difference between the sine wave and a triangle wave. So this is the triangle wave. Let's see if I can... It's easier to hear if you turn up the intensity. So this is a triangle wave. And this is a sine wave. You can hear the sine wave is more smooth. And then of course if we move to a square wave, it's more like what you would have in a deluxe reverb and the opto trem. So the reason why I built this in the first place is I've got an amp that I built that does not... I've built a deluxe reverb style amp that has built-in bias tremolo and also reverb using a real spring reverb. But I was interested in seeing if I could build a different amp. If I didn't put those two features in, could I build a pedal that I could still get reverb and tremolo? And I totally would use this, and I have used this with that amp. But I love the sound of a bias tremolo. In fact, when I built my deluxe reverb style amp, I put a bias tremolo in instead of the opto trem. I just love how smooth it sounds. So that's tremolo. Now, if you press the right foot switch once, that engages the delay. And you can actually engage both at the same time, so tremolo and delay. I don't really ever do that, but when you do, when delay is on, the LED light is brighter. So I don't know if that's coming through in the video very well, but yeah, so they're both on. Now it's just tremolo. If I turn off tremolo and just turn delay on. Let's go through how delay works. It's pretty simple. So on the left you've got time. So the more you turn it to the right, the longer the delay is. And then you've got your repeats. How many repeats are there going to be? Let's turn this down a little bit. So we'll turn that up. And then here on the right, we've got the mix. So the more you turn up the mix on the delay, the more of the delay sound you're going to hear versus the dry signal. And you can get it to do crazy sounds like this. And one of the reasons why I built this in the first place was what I explained before, but also I think that eventually I'll learn how to do chicken picking stuff. But you usually use a delay and I don't know exactly how you're supposed to set it up, but maybe something like that. Then you throw on a compressor and a little bit of distortion. Anyway, so that is delay. That's all the features. So now I'm going to tell you and show, or let's see, let's go into reverb edit mode. And the way that you do that is you double tap on the left foot switch. When you do that, both of the LEDs are going to start blinking. And when you're in reverb edit mode, it's basically, I believe it's a dry signal plus the reverb. So the knob at the top, so if I have this turned all the way, if I have it turned all the way to the left, there's no reverb, but let's turn this up. Now you're not hearing very much of it because it's using the information from all the knobs that are on there right now. So, for example, the input high cut and the tank high cut, these are both controlling that. So if I turn these all the way up, you'll hear way more reverb now. You'll listen how it gets dark. So I like to have them about right here. Okay, the other thing that's going on, we've got the decay. And I usually like to have that back a little bit, maybe like that. The other thing we have is a pre-delay. So here's no pre-delay. If we turn the delay way up, I like to have just a little bit of pre-delay. This other button is the tank diffusion, so here's how that affects things. Kind of gets weird. You turn it all the way up. With no diffusion, I like to have some diffusion. Kind of helps make the signal a little bit. Kind of just diffuses the sound out and into all the different delay lines that are inside the reverb. So that's sounding pretty good. Now let's look at the toggle switches. In edit mode, the left one is the mod speed, the middle one is the mod depth, and the far right one is the mod shape. And these, feel free to grab the code and tinker with the values here, but I usually like actually where they're set right now. These two on the left, towards the left, and this one on the right in the middle. But if I turn, let's go to the extreme so you can kind of hear it. I just turned up the mod speed to be all the way to the right. You can kind of hear it makes it warbly a little bit more. the reverb, not the dry signal. And let's turn the depth all the way up. Hear how it changes things? Yeah, so that's what that does. Let's turn the shape all the way to the right. So these are all maxed out now. So you can play with those. Like I said, I've liked mine with not a lot of all of that. It starts to sound too weird for my taste, but okay, so that is all of that stuff. Now, if I wanted to cancel, in fact, let's do that. To save all the reverb edits, you'd press the right button. To cancel and go back to whatever you had before, press the left button. So for example, let's turn the reverb down, or these high cut. So now it's really dark. If I hit cancel, it's going to go back to what my settings were before. So that's how that works. Now let's talk about the mono stereo configuration. And both the Hothouse and the Funbox, this is the Funbox that I've built the flick on top of. But you can go get the Hothouse and download the flick code for Hothouse as well. But they support stereo in and stereo out. So what I've done is if you press, you can go into let's see, mono stereo edit mode by pressing and holding the right foot switch. Just like that. And now we are in mono stereo edit mode. And the only toggle switch that works in this mode is the far right one, so toggle switch 3. If you put it on the left, now we're in, mono out. Okay, so that's mono in, mono out. If we switch it to the middle, that's the mode that we've been using all along. It's the mono to stereo out, which sounds really cool when you plug it into 2 different amps. Okay, now if you put toggle switch number 3 to the far right, that's going to be stereo in, stereo out. And I don't have it hooked up to be able to do that exactly, or to give the proper demo, but you'll hear when I play, I've got a mono signal coming from my Telecaster, and the reverb you're going to hear processed in both left and right, but the dry signal is only going to be on the left because the tip of my guitar cable is the left. So here's what that is. So you're hearing the dry signal only on the left, but reverb signal in both. So if I did happen to have a stereo signal, they get processed separately and sent to the stereo outputs. So that's how that's all working, and that's how you set it. I'm going to put it back to the middle. And just like with reverb edit mode, if you press the left foot switch, it's going to cancel anything that you changed in mono stereo edit mode. Or if you press the right button, or the right foot switch, it's going to save it. So in this case, either one's going to work because I left it the same. And now I'm back into normal playing mode. So that's the flick. I hope you like this, and I'm going to put in the description where the different source code is for the flick, which, well, yeah, for the flick, for either the Funbox, which is what this pedal is, or the hothouse. This is what the hothouse looks like. This is a really cool box as well. One thing that I haven't yet done on the Funbox is support or do anything with the dip switches. I've got 4 dip switches that I could do something, so if you have ideas, let me know what might be cool. The other thing that the Funbox has is it's got MIDI input, so theoretically I could change any of those parameters on the fly with MIDI control. And I haven't added code for that, but it shouldn't be too bad. And then there's an expression pedal input on the left side. This is another, I don't know if you can see that very well. It's staying blurred, but here we go. That might work. Blue. This one's a blue flick. I basically built the black one and the blue one at the same time. I'm probably not going to keep both, so if you really want one, get in touch and we'll work out a deal. But yeah, the flick is a lot of fun. I think it solves my problems for getting a whole bunch of things on a small pedal board. Let's see if I can actually show you that. Yeah, so this is my pedal board. I built one similar to this, and then I saw that West Coast Pedal Board was running a really cool deal, and so I went ahead and bought this pedal board as well. And it's got the Q tune on there that is the tuner that we've been developing. I'll put a link in the description for that if you're interested in building one of those yourself. But yeah, I wanted to fit a bunch of things, or as much as I could, on this one board. So I've got the Q tune on the right. That's my tuner. Then I've got the what I call the shock absorber. It's a Keeley Compressor Plus clone. And then I've got the Ring of Tone. I love to bike, and so I made that. Of course, it's the King of Tone clone, but it's the pedal PCB, what is that? The Paragon Mini. And then, of course, the flick and the Ditto Plus, which is an amazing looper pedal. But yeah, right now I've got it kind of tilted, the flick, because I've got that stereo output cable going on. But that's my pedal board. It's nice and simple. I open it up and it's ready to go. Well, thanks for watching all about the flick, and thanks for letting me give you a demo of it. I've had a lot of fun showing it and also building it and playing with it. It's so hard to get anything done when you've got a guitar in your hand and you're trying to develop software, but then you get distracted noodling on the flick or any of these other pedals where you have to write software for. So if you have any tips or tricks on how to solve that problem, it's not really a problem, but anyhow, catch you again another time.